get you what you want.
When Bike Week returns, Jack Mangus sits down with the professor of motocross, Gary Bailey.
Gary, I guess the first question I throw at everybody is, at what age did you get interested in motorcycles, and what sparked that interest? Do you remember?
Sure do. I remember it very well. At the age of 13, my grandfather had a motorcycle shop ever since he was, well, he'd been riding motorcycles ever since he was 16 years old himself, the old Indians and Harleys. And he was still had the motorcycle shop, and my brother was doing a little bit of racing out in the desert, and obviously I kind of got the idea that I wanted to do it too.
Okay, we say desert, so are we talking California?
We're talking California, Southern California, out in the desert, hare scrambles, hare and hounds, all the high-speed stuff that these guys, of course, it was high-speed then. Today it's really high-speed. I first went racing when I was 13 years old. That was about 1957, and had a 1955 Triumph Cub, suspension, a little short on that. Plungers on the rear shock and a couple of things, fork tubes with some oil in it, a couple springs, and that's what I started out on.
Is it scrambles or the desert racing?
That was in desert racing. Rode that for a while, and then started doing some scrambles racing as well as the cross-country stuff.
Didn't you try your hand at dirt tracking for a while?
I did a little bit of flat tracking. I rode quite a bit of short track in 65, 66, 67, 68, did a little bit, mostly on short tracks. Did a little bit of flat tracking in 65 and 66 at Ascot Park on the half mile. It was just, wasn't my cup of tea. I wanted more riding. You didn't get enough riding out there, and I don't know, I never liked that wall out there. It just seemed like it was always a little too close when you come flying on that straightaway at 90 to 95 mile an hour. I said, yeah.
At that age, had you heard the word, or were you aware of the European motocross? Had that ever entered your...
You know, I always liked scrambles. That was my main thing, which is actually what motocross is. In scrambles, when I started out riding scrambles, it was just natural terrain, and you know, it was motocross basically. I just did a little different format. It was heats, semis, main events instead of having two motos. And when I had first heard about motocross, about early 65, and I heard the name Torsten Hallman, and they had a couple of motocross races. I didn't really know what it was, but I went there, I heard it was an old scrambles, basically. So I went there, and it was natural terrain, and from there I just went, even though I was still riding some short tracks and things like that, I basically started spending most of my time geared toward motocross.
Had you gone over to Europe actually to see it, or
no, I just when they come over here.
Edison Dye.
Edison Dye sent Torsten Hallman over here first, then he sent a couple other Husky riders over, and then I believe it was in late '68 or '69, actually '68, that they brought over the CZ riders. They brought Joel and Roger and a couple other guys on CZs, plus Hallman and a few of the other Arnie Kring. A few of those guys over, and when I saw them go, I just went, man, because I mean, we thought we were pretty good. And these guys, I mean, they'd lap us, and I was just going, cool, we got some work to do.
In 1969, Gary Bailey was in the right place at the right time, and another motorcycling legend, John Penton, opened the door to a new career.
The first school I'd ever done was at Lorain, Ohio, when Pentons were promoting the event there, the Trans Am event. And a couple of the Europeans were supposed to do a motocross school. They decided that afternoon before that they didn't want to do it, so I was, Mr. Penton come to me and said, hey, can you do a motocross school? I got 20-some guys coming in the morning. I go, I don't know anything about a motocross school. You know, he said, well, do something because these guys are going to be here and they're ready for a school. I said, well, all right, I'll give it a shot. So what I did is I got the guys there in the morning, explained the situation to them, said, hey, I'm your teacher. I'm going to straight out ride. I don't know what I'm doing. I said, I know how to ride, obviously. I'm one of the top American riders. I know, you know, what I do. I can explain that to you. I can talk you through it. You can ask me questions. I'll give you answers. I said, well, just wing it. I don't know what to do. So we went around, spent the whole day. Got done at the end of the day. Everybody was just ecstatic, just going, man, this was great. Man, I'm glad you did that. March of 1970, I started traveling around the country, left California, left everything there except for my van, my trailer, and motorcycles, got rid of my house, got rid of everything, and just went on the road and started teaching schools, had no clue, quit my job that I was doing and said, you know what, I want to be a motorcycle racer, and I want to try and teach schools. I'm going to see how it goes.
At that point, Gary, had your association with the Bultaco started?
I actually started riding Bultacos in 1971 here at Daytona. I'd been riding Greaves until that time. I was riding Greaves and a little bit of Hodakas and actually riding Pittons as well. And I had a Greaves ride. I was signed up here ready to ride at Daytona, the first course that we built here at Daytona. And the week before, the importer of Bultaco into the States had contacted me about riding Bultacos. And I said, well, I don't know. And we were in negotiations between money and different things and all like that. And until the night before the event, this was on Friday night, I had not yet signed a contract. At about 10 o'clock the night before the first Supercross here, I signed a contract with Bultaco, went out there for practice that morning. They went down to the show, to the armory, pulled the bike that they had on the show, worked on it all night long, brought it out there. The president of Bultaco was here, John Grace, working on my motorcycle as a mechanic, just coming with his shirt and tie and everything on, took his tie off, took his jacket off, threw it over there, white shirt, down there working on the bike. When I went out for practice, I had never been on the motorcycle before in my life.
Did you build that track?
Yes.
Was that one of your tracks?
Yeah,
So you built from the very beginning, 71
very
we're
first
talking
one,
about.
yes.
1997, I see you out there this
Yeah.
week building a track.
Yeah.
You're talking 26 years then,
That's
right?
correct. 27.
27
this
rather,
year,
right.
yeah.
Amazing. How did you do in that first Supercross? Daytona Supercross.
I believe I won my heat race, but I got third in the final. In 1972, I won 2 AMA Nationals. Let's put it this way, I competed in 2 AMA Nationals, competed in 2 and won both of them.
Super. One was at the Super Speedway over Talladega, right?
One was at Talladega, the other one was at Washington, Indiana. And the only reason I didn't ride more of them is because my schedule was already kind of set. A few of the Nationals had already gone by. I hadn't even contemplated riding them. People had asked me to do schools there, so I thought, hey, while I'm there, I might as well ride the National too, you know. And Talladega had asked me to build the track there, so I thought, of course, well, while I'm here, I might as well, you know, ride the thing. There ain't no sense in not riding it. So I rode both of them, won both of them, and I thought, geez, you know, that might have been the year I should have rode all of them. I might have got me a championship out of that. So,
when did, in your mind, you say, hey, the schools have become more important than racing?
actually, in about 72, 73, it started in something right around 72. That's why I didn't ride all the national series. I hadn't planned on it.
Who hung the tag professor on you, or where did that ever come from?
That came from, to tell you the truth, what was the guy that was at Cycle News just before you were with Cycle
Don
News?
Woods?
Don Woods. Don Woods did an article when I was in Shreveport, Louisiana, and titled it Professor Bailey's Cure for the European Invasion.
You have a son, David Bailey, became one of the great racers in motocross. Tell us how that began and how proud you must have been to see David progress. And I know he helped at your schools at a young age.
You know, I am a believer that anybody that has a natural athletic talent, okay, you can't make anyone a champion. But if they have a natural athletic ability, I think you can make them a champion. But it takes a lot of time, a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. Not only on the part of the person that's helping them, but on the person themselves that is going to do that, which is one thing that David had. Some of it I think that I instilled in him, and some of it was just something that he had. He knew responsibility, he knew what it takes, and when he decided he was going to do something, it was going to happen.
After Gary's son David won 3 national championships, a Supercross title, and was a member of 5 World Championship Motocross of the Nations teams, he suffered paralyzing injuries.
You know, it was a tough time, real tough time for him, obviously. Many people always said, yeah, I know what you're feeling. David's comment was, no, you don't. And, I mean, you could understand that so much. Nobody ever knows. Until you're in that situation, nobody can, unless you've been in that situation, nobody knows. I've been there with him, but I can't fathom it. You know, and David tried to tell and made the point to his younger brother, Mitchell. He said, don't get locked into one thing. The only real regret that David has is the fact that he dedicated all of his time toward racing and didn't get to do some of the other things in life because of the situation that happened, okay? He got where he was because of the dedication, but because of the situation, he didn't get to do some of the things that he would want to do.
You always seem to have a smile on your face. You seem to be appreciative of what life is, period.
I am. I'm very fortunate. And I realize it, but people say it all the time, so it really keeps it here. There's very few people in this world that get to do what they love doing and make a living in it. And what I love more than anything, I love riding motorcycles, and I love teaching.